What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Andrew Brazis. I am a marketing and business professional, and I wanted to talk to you briefly about time management. So, as somebody who has squandered a lot of time in his life, I've also really learned on how to dial in how I use my time and how to get the most leverage for the time that I'm spending. So, something that I don't do it every day, but probably 4 to 5 times a week, is the night before that I have a day of a lot of activities, or I have a very robust day of just goals or tasks that need to get done. I go through and I write down all of those tasks, and then I essentially determine how long those tasks are going to take just based on experience, and then I write those times down, and then when I go to do these things the next day, I actually have like a little timer that I carry around with me, and I set that timer to that task, and I only focus on that task in that amount of time. And that means phones off or on silent in another room, and I'm hyper focused on doing only that one thing. It's hard for me to get things done some days. And as a individual and a business owner, I don't have the leisure to hang out all day and not do anything. I am also very big on productivity. So I believe that 40 hours of work a week is insane. And I get it if you're like in the hustle culture and you're like trying to grind yourself into the ground and you should work all the time. I get that. But if you are very productive, you can get 5, 6, 7x worth of things done than if you're not productive. And I'm sure most people have had this experience to where you're at work, in your office job or whatever it is you do, and you're there for 8 hours a day, and you really only work 4 hours or 5, like you only really work 4 or 5 hours. And that's a normal human response. I've tried to use that as an advantage. So I build my life around productivity and how can I make my day more productive. And so that could look like going to bed earlier. That could look like working late hours. And I don't mean like working till it's dark and like working long hours, but it's 10 p.m. and then all of a sudden I start getting, the urge to work again. I have to get up and work. Like I have to get it done then because that's when I'm going to be most productive, and then I'll just sleep in the next day. And I understand that, because of the lifestyle that I live, I have the liberty to do that, which is something that I've worked really hard to hold and maintain. Not everybody has that. But if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, you have to get creative with your time. And you also have to be really intentional with how you spend your time. When I have free time, it's spent resting to create more productivity. Another thing in time management, it sounds unrelated, but it's so related. If you have any tasks that you've been putting off, you need to go do them because you have this debt of anxiety that tends to build up. I mean, this is my experience, and I'm sure this resonates with some people out there, but this debt of anxiety will build up so much so where you're paralyzed to doing the things that you need to get done. And if I've learned anything in the last couple of years, it's getting the hard things done out of the way, whether you do them first or you do them last, getting them done so you can have more space. Having more emotional capacity is going to allow you to have more freedom of time, because if you get stuck in these anxious patterns, you end up on your phone, doom scrolling, right? We've all been there. Or you end up, watching TV or just disassociating for hours. And next thing you know, it's the end of the day. You didn't do anything you wanted to do. And then you're upset at yourself or your situation. And if you were to structure your time intentionally, those feelings can be avoided for the most part. And when you avoid them, your life just gets so much easier. So I referenced in the video earlier is something that I picked up from Alex Hormozi several years ago. If you don't know who that is, just type in Alex Hormozi. He's all over the place in the sales marketing world. Huge force. It's literally changed my productivity levels. I get more done. I have been able to move a lot more projects forward where I was stuck for years. So all of these things are super important to time management, but I think most importantly of all is setting the proper expectations for how you're spending your time, using your time intentionally, and then understanding how much time something takes. So have been my whole life an expert procrastinator. Like I would wait, like in assignments do in school, right? And I would not do it, and I would do it in class. I mean, there was classes that I wouldn't even do the assignment, and then I would just scratch something down and pass with like a C or D or whatever. And it's not that I didn't want to do it, it's just that I was so overwhelmed by everything else in my life that I didn't set aside the time. That's not something I understood then, but it's something I deeply understand now. So a lot of our time management might not be that we don't have enough time in the day. It's that we're not regulating how we pick up on our anxiety about the thing that we're doing. We'd be avoiding doing something hard because it could be rooted in anxiety, not so much we're out of time, but this thing makes me feel anxious, so I'm just not going to do it. And then we make all these excuses as to why we shouldn't do it, or as to why it would fail, or why it's not going to work, when we should have just, if we would have just gotten it done and it would have taken 10 or 15 minutes, it would have saved us hours and hours and hours, or days and weeks and months, and it's so silly. But if you've ever procrastinated, you understand this. This is the silly meme that goes around, is like, I'm so proud of myself that I folded the laundry on the same day that I washed it and dried it, right? Because that's so true. Like this thing that might take us 20 minutes, we spend hours procrastinating and building up this debt of anxiety of doing this thing just because, we're feeling lazy or off the day. It's something you don't really want to do for whatever reason. And so just when it comes to time management, just do the thing. Just get it done, write it down, figure out how long it's going to take, and then do it. And I know that a lot of those things are a lot easier said than done, but you're going to feel better for it. And the more you get caught up on this backlog of things you need to do in your life, the lighter and lighter and lighter you're going to feel, and the more space you're going to have, then you're going to realize, oh shit, I have so much time. Like, what do I do with all this time now? And this is super important to not just like success in business, but as an individual. If you find a way to manage your time well, especially if you're working a 9 to 5, if you find a way to manage your time well, you're going to feel lighter. You're going to be just happier. You're going to be able to navigate your life easier, and you're going to have more time for the people that you love. So with all that being said, please manage your time well, because it's really the only resource that we have. And if we spend our time focusing on other resources, you're going to run out of time eventually, like everybody does. That's just the nature of life. And I don't want you or me or anybody else to get to the end of that window of time and wish that they would have had spent that time better. So use your time intentionally. It's okay that you don't use it intentionally all the time. And it's okay that you missed your goals. The way to kind of take our power back, taking your time back and managing your time properly, is taking your power back into your life, and then it kind of just ripples out to where things just get easier because you have more freedom of time. So do what I learned from Alex Hormozy and semi-time block. Write down how long things take. Make a list. Maybe it's just a Sunday and you have some chores to do. Make a list of those chores. Figure out how long it's going to take, and then write down the times, and then go out and do it. And once you do it, I promise you, you're going to have the rest of the day to yourself or whoever, and you're going to have all your time back that day, and it's going to feel really good, and you're going to feel really accomplished, and you're going to have a better life that way. So I'm going to drop a video up here for y'all and one up here, and thank you for viewing the channel, and hopefully I'll see y'all next time.